right. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for being in this class, for deciding to take time to relax deeper and to come into a deeper level of your consciousness, and where you can enter stillness, where you're actually coming home into yourself, even though that might not look that way immediately, but it surely is. So today we are going into this silence, into this stillness, and I'm doing this in a different way than before. We are really going to take a look at what is going on when you become still, like what is going on, and not as a scientific discourse, or not like an examination or an analysis, but more like, no, what is coming up when you go deeper into yourself, where you have the possibility to surrender yourself to whatever is there. And so that starts for me with my own experience. When the spiritual experiences of me started, I literally stepped into a void, what appeared to be a void for a moment. I was very much afraid to go in there. And it wasn't a void in the end, but it certainly looked like it. I was afraid of it, as if I'm going to disappear and never come back. And to a certain degree, that is true. But so in this class, we're going to comfort you in that's not the end of it, and that's not like you're not alone in it. And for now, to start this class, I'm going to use a couple of words from Joel, where he literally invites you to come into this present moment. And in this series of classes, where the title is like the now activity of the Christ, it is like totally appropriate to read this. So I'm going to share this with you. Listen to this. So sit back and relax, and it's only 2 paragraphs, but it's really nice. This practice of nowness develops a consciousness which is never pressed from the outside, because there is nothing to do except what is at hand this moment. Living in this consciousness, we are never worried about supply, nor about any obligation due tomorrow. So these are big words already, so we're getting there. Here's the comfort. There's only today. There's only this hour of today. There's only this instant today. Then there develops in us, we do not do it. It's the Christ of our being develops in us a sense of peace, a sense of quiet, so we can hear within us the words, I can of mine own self do nothing. It is the Father within me that does the work. I can do all things through Christ. I live, yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. So this is what I meant. It is like, it is a comfort. It is becoming quiet in this moment, seeing that there is nothing else, and that you have no reason to be worried about anything. This moment is full of itself. It is complete in itself, and it doesn't need anything from you. It doesn't need a concern from you. It doesn't need worries or anything like that. Like, no, this moment is complete and whole in itself. So in order to experience that, you will have to let go of what your concerns are. It can help to breathe, and it can help to relax, and it can help to shake your shoulders a little bit and say like, okay, so I'm going to drop that, whatever that was behind me, and I'm not going to touch it in this moment. I'm going to let things be exactly as they are. And that will bring us to this quiet place inside ourselves where something spontaneous can come up, where something that the Christ has given us, like our Christ within, is giving us in this moment, it automatically starts to communicate. And that's where healing takes place, and that's where you feel comfort, and that's where your worries are being taken away. Because why would you let go of worries if you don't have an alternative? Like, why would you let go of your ideas about the world or about who you think you are if you don't have a different experience of yourself? You probably would never do it. So, but you already know, you have some experience of it, that there is something else. Otherwise, you would not be looking at this video. So that is good to know that, and to develop that, and to not be afraid, but more like curious what is more available, except for the experiences that you already have. Because you literally have an experience now that has never happened before. You cannot rely on your past experiences. So it is always fresh, and it's always like a new invitation for you to enter in, to become present in this moment. It's not like, okay, I got so much experience now that goes so easy, or I always do it like this. It's like, no, no, no. It will always be a surprise to discover suddenly that you're communicating with the whole universe, and you feel the stillness and the strength in you. And that is how this works. Like, it is spontaneous. You cannot plan it. It is given to you. It just needs you to get out of the way and let it take you over, in that sense, or fill you up. And so this is connected to your ideas, to the ideas that need to get out of the way for you to experience this, for the things that you're afraid of. Like, if I would tell you, like, what would happen if you would let go of everything right now, like, what would happen with you, or what does come up in you when I say those words to you. It's like, imagine that you had to let go of everything right now. What is the thing that comes up immediately? So this is one of the things that are preventing you from letting things go. And it can be your children, it can be your spouse, it can be your friend, it can be whatever it is, it can be your new boat that you just bought. See, it really doesn't matter. It is just like, there's something that you want to hold on to in order to be here, but also not to step into an experience of Christ consciousness. So in that place where you become completely still, Joel gives a really nice description of it, and I want to read that to you, because it shows you what you're afraid of, but also what it is. So that is really nice. I'll share it with you right now. And this comes from the just posted part of Cosmic Law that I put on the EB website. I would like to carry the idea of this meditation right into your own experience. In this meditation, there was the complete silence, which inwardly is working as receptivity. In other words, here isn't thinking any thoughts. It is not declaring any truths. It is as if it were listening. Listening to what? The silence. In back of us is the silence, the deep, deep silence, an ocean of silence, a world of silence. But out of that silence, which Scripture calls the void, out of that void, the entire earth is formed. Now remember that the earth, or any form or manifestation, any form of demonstration, any form of harmony must appear out of a void. The void, or darkness, really is the silence. There is actually no such thing as a void. That is taking liberty with language to call it a void. because it isn't a void. It is filled with the divine energy of spirit. But it is a void so far as human thoughts or human words are concerned. There's nothing of a human nature going on in that void out of which appears our experience. And so, in order to bring forth from the divine, from the cosmic, it is necessary to get back into that void with a listening ear. Then comes a message. It is not your message or mine. It is a message, literally, that's given to us. See, so there is no void. There's nothing of a human nature going on in that emptiness or in that silence. See, and that makes it that as a human being you can become really afraid if you are used to identifying with your thoughts as like, okay, yeah, if I don't have my own thoughts, what is left for me to do? Like, what is left of me when I cannot hold on to that, when I cannot play with my thoughts or use them as a means for my concern. And that, of course, is not spiritual. Like in the sense, this void or emptiness or this silence where Joel is talking about is complete, is what I'm actually inviting you to step into in this moment. It is complete in itself. It doesn't need your words, it doesn't need your noises, it doesn't need anything human and from a human nature. It is complete in itself. And this is what I called the other day. It's like there's no space for anything else. It's like you love your Lord with all of your heart, with all of your heart. So that means like there's no split in it. There's no something else you like too. It's like, no, I'm loving my God with all of my heart. And that's what Joel means here too. So this void or this emptiness is completely filled. It is a vibrational, a vibrational environment. It is your real world, literally. It is where you come alive, where the Christ of you is coming alive. And that has nothing to do with this world. It doesn't need worldly words at all. So my invitation to you in this moment is to enter into that, to start communicating like that by stepping back into the place where you're actually afraid of, but now with a listening ear, to discover something new for yourself, to discover that scariness or that fear that you feel can be overcome by going into it with a listening ear and allowing it to be there, to discover that there's something else going on where you want to get in touch with. So that's so nice, that's so great. And you can't believe that it is there until you experience it. So in order to experience it, like I said, nothing else is needed. So basically you gotta train your mind like we do in this the now activity of the Christ. You gotta train your mind. So now today we're going to take another 5 lessons of the review of A Course in Miracles to help you with that, to show you that, oh yes, oh, my meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. Oh, I am not upset for the reason that I think. Oh, maybe all my ideas about myself are not true. Maybe there is something, like I don't need ideas about myself to be who I am. My ideas are literally coming from nowhere and going nowhere. So that in the third class, like this is the third class of the now activity of the Christ, it is like we take day 3 of the review of the first 50 lessons. So I'm going to read that to you. So these are 5 review lessons. My meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. Since the thoughts of which I'm aware do not mean anything, the world that pictures them can have no meaning. What is producing this world is insane, and so is what it produces. Reality is not insane, and I have real thoughts as well as insane ones. I can therefore see a real world if I look to my real thoughts as my guides for seeing. I am upset because I see a meaningless world. Insane thoughts are upsetting. They produce a world in which there is no order anywhere. Only chaos rules a world. Only chaos rules a world that represents chaotic thinking, and chaos has no laws. I cannot live in peace in such a world. I am grateful that this world is not real, and that I need not see it at all unless I choose to value it. And I do not choose to value what is totally insane and has no meaning. A meaningless world engenders fear. The totally insane engenders fear because it is completely undependable and offers no grounds for trust. Nothing in madness is dependable. It holds out no safety and no hope. But such a world is not real. I've given it the illusion of reality, and I've suffered from my belief in it. Now I choose to withdraw this belief and place my trust in reality. In choosing this, I will escape all the effects of the world of fear because I'm acknowledging that it does not exist. God did not create a meaningless world. How can a meaningless world exist if God did not create it? He is the source of all meaning, and everything that is in his mind is in my mind too, because he created it with me. Why should I continue to suffer from the effects of my own insane thoughts when the perfection of creation is my home? Let me remember the power of decision and recognize where I really abide. My thoughts are images that I have made. Whatever I see reflects my thoughts. It is my thoughts that tell me where I am and who I am. The fact that I see a world in which there is suffering and loss and death shows me that I'm seeing only the representation of my insane thoughts, and I'm not allowing my real thoughts to cast a beneficent light on what I see. Yet God's way is sure. The images I have made cannot prevail against him because it is not my will that they do so. My will is his, and I will place no other gods before him. So my meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. I'm upset because I see a meaningless world, and a meaningless world engenders fear. And God did not create a meaningless world. My thoughts are images that I have made. So you get what I'm saying? This is how we train our minds. For just a moment, we allow these thoughts to come to us and practice them. Like, oh, what a discovery. I really thought my thoughts have meaning. I really thought that was it, that was my world and that there's nothing else. So now I discover that the world that I see is not created by God. The world I see is a reflection of what I'm thinking. It is literally images that I've made. And I said this before too in the class before. It's like there's no link of memory to the past. There's no link to the things that happened before with this present moment. And that means that all the continuity that you were looking for, that you saw in all these happenings or all these moments, have no relationship to this present moment. So basically you can be happy that you're free of them, that you don't have to pull them back in, you don't have to redigest them, or you don't have to take a look at them again. This moment is free of that. And that means this moment is complete in itself. We don't have to take anything with us into this present moment. Another way of saying that is like, okay, I come with completely open hands into this present moment. So let's see, there's something preventing you from entering in if you don't enter in. It's like there's something preventing you from doing that. And that is your whole idea that you're so accustomed to the dark, so to speak. You're so accustomed to death and to disease that you really think these are essential parts of your life. These are essential things in which you can show people that you love them or care for them or whatever that is, whatever your function in that is. And I'm not telling you that you shouldn't do that. It's more like, no, you can see that that is created by you, literally. You can discover that all the suffering and all the disease does not come from God. It is not that God wants you to suffer. So you can ask your Holy Spirit to see this all in a brand new way, to see that there's no lack, to see that there's no sickness, to see literally, suddenly see that there's no darkness. So in A Course in Miracles, there's a lot of that. Like there's a lot of going from darkness to light, going, being born again, and more like that. I want to share with you a little part from one of the first chapters, or from chapter 1. It is the escape from darkness. And I'll bring this into because the idea, like three terms are connected to one another. One of them is like emptiness. One is the void, and the other is silence. So in this silence, that is not silence, like in terms of an empty, like no sound. No, the silence is a representation of this present moment. That is like the same as the idea of the void. It is not empty. It is complete in itself. It is not empty, it is not full. It is not this, it is not that. It's like, no, it is what it is. It is complete in itself. So the vibration of light, and that is what we will read too, is like the vibration of light. Suddenly you can dispel the darkness by seeing that it is not darkness at all. Like I was afraid to enter into my deepest fear. The moment that I go into that, like in one of my first experiences, was like I literally went into fear. I had like, okay, fear, come and get me, because I'm so sick and tired of being afraid all the time. And when I did that, something completely different happened. Like literally, suddenly the space was filled, even though everything became completely quiet. But I was touched by it. I was completely changed by it, and just because of the vibrational, it was a new vibration, literally, for me. The escape from darkness. The escape from darkness involves two stages. First, the recognition that darkness cannot hide. This step usually entails fear. Second, the recognition that there's nothing you want to hide, even if you could. This brings escape from fear. When you have become willing to hide nothing, you will not only be willing to enter into communion, but will also understand peace and joy. So the escape from darkness is something that you want to hide. You don't want to take a look at all that is there. You don't want to take a really good look at yourself because you're afraid of what can be possibly be seen. Like you don't want to face that. You don't want to face what's going on until you do, of course. So the escape from darkness entails two steps. One of them is the recognition that darkness cannot hide. Like it's useless to hide what I'm trying to hide, because there literally is no secret in the universe. There's no such thing as privacy. There's no such thing as you can keep things for yourself. You can't. So in this, the second step then in this is the recognition that there's nothing you want to hide, even if you could. Like you can't hide, but if you could, you don't even want to do that because you want to be free of it. You don't want to take anything with you that prevents you from coming into an experience of the Christ. Holiness can never be really hidden in darkness, but you can deceive yourself about it. And this deception makes you fearful because you realize in your heart it is a deception and you exert enormous effort to establish its reality. The miracle sets reality where it belongs. Okay, so you know if you want to hide something that you do that very consciously. You know that you're actually fooling yourself. Like you actually know that when you do it. I remember from myself when I did that, it's like, yes, indeed, I was conscious of the fact that I was hiding something. And at the moment I want to share that, I already feel the release. Like, oh, luckily I don't have to do, I want to be honest all the time. I don't want to hide anything from anyone anymore. And so these are essential steps. This is why I say often to anyone that I am in contact with in practitionership too, is like, there literally is nothing to hide. There's nothing to be afraid of. And this is asking for a really totally new way of being honest to yourself. Like if you are completely honest to yourself, you don't have to hide. There is no darkness. There is nothing like the pleasure of releasing whatever you hid for a moment is much more comforting and joyous than you sitting there trying to hide from the light, so to speak, trying to save something for yourself so that your brother cannot see it or whatever. You know, that is not a good feeling. You know that there's a child when you just snatched a little candy or something, and you were so much afraid that somebody would see it and come after you. You know, that is, you learn that as a child that that's not a very comfortable way of being. So in this waking up, like in your path of enlightenment, you literally discover that you have to be honest with yourself. You literally have no choice because there's nothing to hide. There's no such thing as private thoughts. There's no such thing as that you can keep something for yourself that others don't know. Like, no, there's just no such thing. And that is because the world you see and you got familiar with is not the way it is. Because there are no separate identities and there are no separate minds. In your little bubble, you can think like that and get the reflections and the proof, so to speak, that that is true, but it really isn't. So you already know what someone is hiding. If somebody's hiding something, you already know that. And that's the same when you are hiding something. Everyone already knows it. So we're just waiting for you to admit, okay, this and this and so and so. So, and there's like, yeah, there's where the peace can enter into your life. And that is where the peace can enter into this moment. But if you want to enter into this present moment, you cannot do that with your lies or with your, say, your darkness. So that's a pretty good subject, isn't it? Darkness is lack of light, as sin is lack of love. It has no unique properties of its own. It is an example of the scarcity belief from which only error can proceed. Truth is always abundant. Those who perceive and acknowledge that they have everything have no needs of any kind. The purpose of the advancement is to restore everything to you, or to rather restore it to your awareness. You were given everything when you were created, just as everyone was. See, that is so great. Yes, my cup is full. It runneth over. Like if you give up your lies or your hesitations or your doubts or your, all of that, and then you feel the release, then suddenly you can breathe again. Suddenly you feel an energy flow through. You start to sweat, or you feel the energy stirring inside of you. So you really come alive, literally. That's what you feel. And that is like, you never want to do that ever again. Just for the sake of coming to life again. That's beautiful. The emptiness engendered by fear must be replaced by forgiveness. That is what the Bible means by there is no death, and why I could demonstrate that death does not exist. I came to fulfill, this is what Jesus says, I came to fulfill the law by reinterpreting it. The law itself, if properly understood, offers only protection. It is those who have not yet changed their minds who brought the hellfire concept into it. I assure you that I will witness for anyone who lets me, and to whatever extent he permits it. Your witnessing demonstrates your belief, and thus strengthens it. Those who witness for me are expressing through their miracles that they have abandoned the belief in deprivation in favor of the abundance they have learned belongs to them. So do you get what I'm saying? Because that is really great. So it's like you demonstrate what you have by giving it away. If you don't believe in darkness anymore, if you don't believe your own lies, you're going to admit to whoever, like you're literally going to spit it out, what you are hiding. You're literally going to share this with a brother or sister and say like, hey, listen to me, I gotta get this off my shoulders. I gotta get this out of my, like the deeper regions of my heart. I really want to get rid of this. I have to share this with you. And then you have a possibility to immediately enter into a deep, deep, deep stillness, where you feel so comforted, where you feel so complete and whole that you have like, oh my God, I should have done this like 1,000 years before. Because that is how simple this is. It is all about forgiveness. It's literally your key to heaven. It is literally the way for you to enter into peace of mind. There's no other way to do it. Like, you will have to admit, you will have to share what you carry with you as a deep something that you value, that is undigested, laying there, preventing you from entering into this present moment. So yeah, forget about yourself in that sense. Forget about your resistance to it. Admit just to someone or something, or in whatever way, write it out, or do it any way that it works for you. Share what you carry with you. Just completely empty your heart with all of that. Like, completely empty it out. So, and that is the transformational process, because when you start doing that, it appears that you have more memories that are coming up that you want to release. You have more emotions that need to be looked at, or you have more situations that are just popping up in your memory. They're suddenly there in front of you, where you have to deal with and you have to take another look at, or that you have to allow to be healed. So, and this is your function for a while. You do this literally, like I said the other day, it's like a purification. It's literally like a body rejuvenation, a body forgiveness, basically. You literally forgive the memories that you carry with you. Because a lot of the memories that you carry with you, like we saw in the natural process of miraculous healing, is literally like, it is, your body is a memory package. And so once you have decided that healing is your purpose, that comes up, like memories are coming up for healing. You don't even know where they come from, but you allow it to come up and you go through it and let it be healed. You're not resisting it any longer. So that is part of this too. And you never know how that's going to look. One time it looks like this, the other time you're so involved into a situation that you think, well, this is not spiritual at all, or whatever. But your judgment about situations are of no meaning. They literally pop up for you to let them be healed. It's not that you have to do that, but now you allow yourself to enter into that quiet place where the Christ can do that for you, where your Christ consciousness can work that for you, can literally heal that for you. So yeah, that's quite an offering. It is so great to enter into stillness, to enter into peace of mind for the first time, like after a long time. Of course, you all recognize this. It's not that it never was was in you. No. So when you experience it again, it is like a big recognition of what is. You know this already. Like a part of you is in communication with every aspect of creation. So that part already knows. And that comes into your awareness every time that you remember that you are connected. And the remembrance is a spontaneous occurrence. You cannot even, you can become quiet for it and allow that to occur in you. And like I said, the steps that you can take to become completely honest with yourself and share your deepest secrets, to spit them literally out, to write them down, or to share them with others, just as an admission that you cannot live any longer the way you did before, but you literally want to come alive again without all of this, to be able to enter into an emptiness or a void where you're no longer afraid of. Wow. So I want to read one miracle prayer to help us literally to help us to let this occur. So this is a really great lesson. So it's a miracle prayer 322. I can give up, but what was never real. I sacrifice illusions, nothing more. And as illusions go, I find the gifts illusions try to hide, awaiting me in shining welcome and in readiness to give God's ancient message to me. His memory abides in every gift that I receive of him. And every dream serves only to conceal the self, which is God's only Son, the likeness of himself, the Holy One who still abides in him forever, as he still abides in me. Father, in you all sacrifice remains forever inconceivable, and so I cannot sacrifice except in dreams. As you created me, I can give up nothing you gave me. What you did not give me has no reality. What loss can I anticipate except the loss of fear and the return of love into my mind? I can give up, but what was never real. So, and there it is. Thank you so much for joining me in this class, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you so much.